on the mountain when summer comes again. Meet me on the mountain. I'll be waiting for you there. Oh, the open sky was always on our side. It never asked us why. And I'd like to think that the sun's so high had a smile in its eye. Meet me on the mountain.
Shawn Kirchner is a composer and a songwriter and has a performing career as a singer and a pianist. He's involved in the musical circles of Los Angeles, California. In May of 2012, he was appointed Swan Family Composer in Residence of the Los Angeles Master Chorale. As a tenor, he sings regularly with the Los Angeles Master Chorale in performances with the chorale and the Los Angeles Philharmonic Orchestra, at Disney Hall, and at the Hollywood Bowl, in collaborations with the world's leading conductors and composers. His choral compositions are performed throughout the United States and abroad, in concert halls, churches, schools, and on radio and television. Hello, I'm Brent Carlson. Welcome to Brethren Voices. A lot has happened since Shawn shared some of his experiences with us back in July of 2009. And we're going to share some of that program with you and take a look at some of his recent performances as well. Shawn has been enjoyed by many in the Church of the Brethren, as he has led music at the annual conference of the Church of the Brethren. He's been involved in the national youth conferences, young adult conferences, Song and Story Fest, Brethren Volunteer Service, University of Verne, and the Verne Church of the Brethren, and the list goes on. We asked Shawn, have you always been involved in the Church of the Brethren?
Yes, I have. My mom's family was Brethren. We come from Iowa. She grew up in a little country church in Garrison, Iowa. But anyway, yeah, we were always active in, I'm a triplet. My brother, sister, and I were always active in the churches. We went to church camp, youth activities. Yeah, we were always doing lots of Brethren stuff.
What led you to an interest in music?
I was interested in music from the get-go, basically. My mom said that I used to tap my finger in time during my nap times on my crib. Like she'd put on the radio and I'd kind of make time. And what I always joke with is, it's like she always played, I think, easy listening music, like just the calm music. And so now everything I play sounds like easy listening music. I was fated to play easy listening music. That's kind of a joke, but yeah, I was always interested in music. My mom's family sang, my dad's family was musical, so there was always music around.
How did you develop your interest in music?
Well, we didn't have a piano, and we didn't have money for a piano, but when I was 5, my parents bought a little melodeon, which is like a keyboard that you blow into, and I accidentally looked in the trunk during Christmas shopping and saw what they were getting from me, and I got in trouble for finding out what Santa Claus was bringing early. But I learned how to play on that thing. And for a Brethren family, it's kind of bad, but the first song I learned to play was the Marine Corps hymn, because my dad was a Marine. So da 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 was the first song that I learned to play. But my mom and a guy from church who she had gone to college with rebuilt a piano, an old upright oak piano that they had found in a building that my dad owned, a free piano basically. So they rebuilt it from scratch, and it was, it actually was not well done because the keys wouldn't sit. They were like all uneven with each other. But that's the piano we learned to play on. So when I turned 8, we finally had a piano in the house, and we immediately started piano lessons with a neighborhood piano teacher. So it was that, and it was all over from there. I was just like, I was just trying to teach myself to play, and I started playing in church that year, I think, you know, little songs here and there. The first time I ever played, it wasn't in church, it was for the Sunday school kids. And I was so nervous that my foot was on the pedal just going like this. I was just so, it was like my equivalent of like a big performance was to play for the kids singing Sunday school songs. But that was the first. The church really is a great way for people to learn music. Many musicians get their start in church because it gives you a chance to play and try things. Piano, we started strings in 4th grade. I'm a triplet, so my sister played violin, I played viola, my brother played cello. So we were all in orchestra together, we all sang in the choirs. So anyway, it was a good music program in Iowa, so we had lots of chances to develop as musicians.
Shawn attended Manchester College in North Manchester, Indiana, which had its beginnings in the Church of the Brethren, and his major was peace studies. We asked him how he decided to major in peace studies.
It's interesting you should ask that question right at this time, because the people that influenced me to major in peace studies at Manchester College actually just recently passed away, and it was actually kind of a tragedy in our denomination. We lost some real leaders. Phil and Louis Raymond were the parents of my good friend Ken. They moved to Iowa when I was in high school. Ken became a good high school friend, and the Raymonds were just real wonderful. They were pastors, but great peace activists, just wonderful people, and they kind of drew everybody in. And my sister and brother and I kind of started hanging out at their house and kind of got brought into their circle and just in kind of their holistic way of life that was really attractive to a young person kind of searching for answers and looking at lots of different things. So the Raymonds kind of decided that I was going to go to Manchester. I mean, I was thinking about going to Oberlin Conservatory, which is a really good music school, but I think the Raymonds said, this young man should study peace studies. So Ken, their son, was a peace studies major at Manchester, and I got swept along on the Raymond tide of the Raymond family, and so there I was at Manchester rooming with Ken and as a peace studies major. And so I felt, in retrospect, I feel like I kind of lost the musical track a little bit, but I really don't regret gaining the peace studies perspective that I gained. And one way I usually talk about the peace studies major, it's kind of like an investment in yourself as a person. Because in most majors you study a skill or you learn something very particular, but peace studies is much more of a humanities kind of approach where you're really learning about the human condition and about how humans are together in the big picture. And I think that perspective can inform everything you do in really positive ways when you channel it in a more specific way later. So I really don't regret doing the peace studies major, although it kind of took me out of music for a while.
We also asked Shawn about the effect of peace studies has had on his life.
Well, the first way we did that was when we were at Manchester College, we formed a peace choir. And that was the first way that kind of music and peace started coming together for me. It was basically a bunch of Brethren students and then a whole bunch of international students, because we kind of all became friends. It was kind of a group of about 15 to 20 college students. And we sang, you know, international folk songs. We sang in lots of different languages. We did sing kind of Peter, Paul, and Mary or Simon and Garfunkel songs also. But we just had fun. We got together at 1:11. That was our meeting time. Sunday afternoon at 1:11. We would meet at the chapel and we would practice. And it was just kind of for fun. We would just kind of sing around. But eventually, we got good, actually. You know, we sang in 4-part harmony. We had all these neat arrangements. We had a lot of people that played guitar. We had violinists, flute player, piano, lots of different things going on. So eventually we started performing at different churches or at different events. We eventually even went on a tour. to Iowa. We went to the camp where I'd grown up. We were guest leaders for a youth retreat. So we took this caravan of college vans through the fields of Iowa, ran out of gas. There's actually a good story about this. We were singing a song that we had learned from a bunch of Nicaraguan youth called Se mueve la mano de Dios, the hand of God is moving. Se mueve la mano de Dios, en su palabra vida. Anyway, we were singing it for like 25 minutes in the van. And we're like and I'm driving because I had the, only one person could drive the van, so I was stuck on the van. And I was sitting there tapping my foot on the accelerator in time with the music. We were wasting so much gas. It's like, psh, psh. It's like, and all of a sudden we went down this hill, and Iowa does have hills, by the way. We went down this hill, and we just couldn't come up again. I was like, something happened to the car, you guys. What's wrong? And then we realized we had completely run out of gas because we were singing, and no one was looking at the gas gauge. It was like getting lower and lower. So basically, we were just stuck out in the middle of nowhere in Iowa. So we had to go to a farmhouse, a bunch of these crazy college students that kind of just knock on this door and just say, we ran out of gas, can we come in? And I think we were kind of just crazy Manchester Brethren people, just who thinks everyone is from the same family. There's no strangers, we're all brothers and sisters. So we kind of all just enter their house and sing. I don't even know what crazy things we're talking about. But eventually he realized we were just kind of normal kids that were just kind of silly, and he gave us a gallon of gas and we got going. Anyway, that was on that Peace Choir tour. But we performed at Church of the Brethren annual conference. We also made a tape. So we kind of had some neat things going on. So that was the first time that music and peace were really getting intertwined. Since then, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's something that you consciously try to do. I think music by itself is always a peacemaker. I think anyone who's in music, it doesn't matter. Any choral music educator is teaching their students music from all over the world. Anytime choirs listen to each other, music already goes through all the boundaries. I don't think you have to try hard to put peace and music together, but there are ways to do it. Someone from Oregon, actually, I'm here in Oregon, at the University of Oregon, did a Waging Peace Through Singing choral competition, so people could submit choral music on the theme of peace, and one of my pieces called Rain Come Down won honors in that competition. It was a song that I wrote after the Columbine school massacre, and my mother had also died the year before, so I kind of was in that mode of what it's like to lose somebody suddenly. So I wrote a song called Rain Come Down, and it was in that competition. So there are ways to foster specifically peace with music, but I think even without trying, music already does that.
Shawn Kirchner served a year in Brethren Volunteer Service, and he shared about that experience.
Yeah. I had a really great experience in Brethren Volunteer Service. If you serve in the United States, you serve for 1 year. If you serve abroad, you go for 2. And I was just going to serve for 1 year. Well, actually, I was going to go to Israel for a 2-year stint, but I had a dream during my first placement. I had an interim placement before I went overseas at a place called Gould Farm in Massachusetts. And it's in the Berkshires, and it's a residential farm for people with psychiatric illnesses, where they kind of get to experience life in a normal way, treated like they're normal, in a family setting where they also have to get up at 8 and work normally. Anyway, I was one of the workers there. And I loved it so much there. Maybe that was the reason I had the dream, because I don't want to leave this place. But I had a dream, and I called up the BVS person and said, I'm not going to Israel. I'm not supposed to go to Israel. I'm supposed to stay here. And then there was another project that some friends wanted me to be on. It was a musical project. And if I had gone to Israel, I couldn't have done this. So I really marked this as the turning point of when I went back into music. Because I think I wouldn't have, I was interested in languages and foreign languages and stuff. And so I thought maybe I would have gone a completely different direction. But anyway, so I was in Massachusetts for 8 months at Gould Farm, and I did lots of music there. And then I went on this, for the last 4 months of my volunteer project, it was called Hoya, Joya, Journey of Young Adults. And that was a singing quartet, and we gave concerts all over the country, did peace education workshops, Brethren history workshops, creativity workshops. We would do concerts. Anyway, got to tour with 3 other people my age, 17,000 miles around the country in a Lumina, a Chevy Lumina.
Over 7,000 volunteers have served in Brethren volunteer service during the past 75 years. Here's a message from 2 volunteers who are now serving in the United States.
Hi there, my name is Billy Harness. I'm working here at Snowcap Community Charities through BVS. I'm from North Liberty, Indiana, a small farm town on the outskirts of South Bend, Indiana, northern Indiana. So I graduated from Indiana Wesleyan University with a degree in elementary education, and then I went to Holy Cross College as a graduate student and got a graduate certificate in ESL education and played basketball there as well. Here at Snowcap, the type of community we serve here are low-income families and residents, and as well as homeless community. We serve 10,000 families a month alone, just with the food and clothing that we give out. So it's been a real blessing working here, and just meeting the different families that come in and working with the different volunteers here has opened my eyes to a greater perspective on life and what's really important.
Oh, hi there. I'm Lucas, and I participate in the Brethren Volunteer Services over at Snowcap in Portland, Oregon. Over here in this department, we give out clothing to low-income families and just help them out however we can. We have jackets, blankets, baby clothes, whatever the people here need. And why I started this program is because I always wanted to go into the US and do something useful too. So I looked around and I found a German volunteer organization that was cooperating with BVS. So I was really interested and started to look into it. And it just caught my attention how much good BVS did here. So I got more interested and found Snowcap, a place where people can get food and clothes if they cannot afford that. And if you're also interested in this program, you can check it out on our website, www.brethren.org.
So I would recommend all Brethren and anybody, and I really also am appreciative that President Obama has also talked a lot about national service as an important element in our country. I think service is absolutely central to a quality human experience of life. So I would recommend it to anybody.
Here is Shawn performing All Beyond My Way with the First Plymouth Church of Lincoln, Nebraska.
When I am gone, don't you cry for me. Don't you pity my sorry soul. What pain there might have been will now be past, and my spirit will be whole. I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. I'll have left my feet of clay upon the ground. I will be glory bound. I'll be on my way. When I am gone, don't you cry for me. Don't you pity my sorry soul. The pain that might have been will now be past, and my spirit will be whole. I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. I've left my feet of clay upon the ground. I will be am gone, don't you look for me in the places I have been. I'll be alive, but somewhere else. I'll be on my way again. I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. And so to the air, there'll be glory everywhere. I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. Lay my crown and on my burdens down. I'll be putting on my crown. I'll be on my way. I left my feet of clay upon the ground. I will be glory bound. I'll be on my way.
Shawn has performed, written, and composed music, and we ask him, what is the most difficult musical task? Performing, writing, or composing music?
The most demanding by far is to be a composer. And the funny thing is, when you get into a profession, it's the dumb things that are what's hard. Like, I don't mind messing with notes and sharps and flats and crazy key signatures and all the musician stuff. It's like your back gets tired. Literally, I mean, I used to hate composing because I'm like, why would I ever want to be a composer? This is just the most uncomfortable thing in the world to have to sit here at this piano and just... And then I finally realized, why don't you just get a pillow to sit on? Like, if you just sit on a pillow, you'll be fine all of a sudden. So, I mean, you know, I'm a skinny guy, right? So I need a pillow, you know? And so it's the stupid things about a profession that make you hate it. It's not the profession itself. So what's hard about being a composer is you have to be able to sit in one position for so long. Literally. The other hard thing about being a composer is that you have to have blocks of time. You know, the phone rings, somebody comes over. You just have to have hours that are just unbroken. Otherwise, nothing's happening. But it's great to be a composer. Just let things, see where things end up. You always start here and you never know where you're going, and that's the whole point. I would say that being a songwriter is the most enjoyable, because when you write a song, it's a very finite amount of things to worry about. All you're worrying about is words and a melody. The chords are not going to be a problem. Does the melody hang together? Do the words hang together? So you can make everything on this single sheet of paper, and you can be as obsessive as you really are. And I think a lot of creative people are very obsessive compulsive, and that's a good use for that. They should be. And songwriting is wonderful. It's a great way to channel your perfectionism.
Back in 2009, we asked Shawn about his journey in music and what has been his biggest surprise.
There's two things I can think of as surprises. One thing is just, what I find much more enjoyable in life is not what I decide to do, but what kind of drops into my lap is much more exciting. Like, who would have ever thought that the Church of the Brethren would have been asked by CBS to do a big special? I never would have thought, okay, when I grow up, I want to direct music for this Christmas Eve special. I would never have thought it would happen. You don't think along those lines. But all of a sudden it happens. Wow, what a great surprise. So just the opportunities that come up in your life that you aren't expecting, I think, are always the best things. But the other thing that's been the nice surprise is songwriting for me. A couple years ago, the film Brokeback Mountain came out, and it made a really huge impact on me. I just thought that the story was so powerful, and it was so beautifully acted. Everything about the movie was so authentic and so viscerally expressive. And for me, when I have a really strong impact on something, I respond musically. So I just started writing songs. I didn't really expect to, but I started writing songs. And what I discovered in that process, which was the surprise that you're asking about, is that one fun thing a songwriter gets to do is they get to journey into the mind of another person. you know, you've got your own life, but when you're a songwriter, you get to kind of go into them and say, how do they experience life? And so when you, if you use a story or a movie or anything as your springboard for that creativity, it gives you just this avenue to really explore what it's like to empathize with somebody else, empathize with their experience. And I'm a horrible actor. My brother and sister are great actors. But what I learned in songwriting is that you can go through your imagination, attempt to go into someone else's mind and see how they live. And just, so then as a songwriter, you just go into their life and then you just say what they would say. You sing what they would sing. You put yourself into their circumstance and just whatever flows out, you just go with it. And that was a real surprise to me, is that you can enter into, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a male or a female, you can enter into this woman's experience and say, what did she feel at that exact moment? You know, her husband's gone. She doesn't know where he went. What's going on? What does she feel at that exact moment? And then you let a song come out of that moment. It's just a great experience to let yourself try to do that. And I think it's basically it's the fundamental experience of what it means. You know, as human beings, we're just always separate from each other. We're never going to really know, but the only way we can try is to meet somewhere. And I think art and music gives you a great chance to, through songs, to try to bridge that gap.
Shawn Kirchner has brought a lot of joy to all of us, and we want to appreciate him for his creative talents and abilities. This is Brent Carlson, wishing you peace. Pass it on.